Okay. Until this starts up, I'm not going to talk about the program much. Here, like there are proceeding speakers who will be taking you all through the program. Here, I'm just going to give you all an insight of how to plan our resource, the most important resource of time. So, and like, how do we look forward for? Because I think this is an opportunity that everyone are looking forward to succeed in their lives. So, let's go through our presentation. This is
Yes. We would like to welcome Mr. Tariq Hidayatullah, the chairperson of Circle of Success.
So I'm the finance systems and merchandising planning manager for Cool Planet. Just to give an update about myself. So my qualifications you would have heard what presenter told you all. So just taking you all through a dissection of life where I'm going to tell you how like what is the reality of life when it comes to planning our future. Usually what we do is we get into the planning stage at the beginning itself. But when you really look into a planning, how should a plan work? We have to look back into what are the resources we have. So how to succeed, how to use them in a proper way. So the most important aspect of life and career and all what we have is the time that we have in our, what we have for ourselves. So if we get into this slide of us, if you take a 24-hour day, which a person has, nine, most probably we say nine, or it's standard they say six, but most probably we go above nine, right? Sometimes we give reasons, we say we are tired, we say we are free today. So there are different reasons we give. So let's keep it as nine average. Then the next half of it, if you take most probably 10 hours, even though they call it 9.5 hours work or 9 hours work, we spend closer to more than 10 hours, in fact. So work takes 10 hours of our life. Then the balance 5, we could say we have for personal time. But if you say this is also control, because when you sleep, you have to sleep. When it comes to office hours, you have to work. If not, you're kicked out. So, but this time, what do we do? Is it productive? What should we do? Let's question on those. So, if you take out of your life, so in terms of a day, 60% of your time gone on office, this you can't even consider, right? This is equal to death, right? You have no control, you are not planning for anything. It's just your like reset button. So, if you take out of the 15 hours, 34 hours you have, 34% you have for your personal life. So let's get into the next slide. Here what I have done is the same thing. I have put in terms of years. If you take 10 years that you have lived, and also I have to tell which phase of life is that. Now if you take the youngsters who are 20, 30, we'll say out of that 3.7 years spent on sleep. 3.7 years. So we say we are 10 years, we'll say 20 years, we'll say 20, 30 years. Out of that, what have we really lived? 22 years. Out of that also, you keep aside all this sleep. I said it's 9 hours, but I know there are people who adore sleep a lot, right? I see from some phrases also, they're like, yeah, okay, don't know how this fellow knows. No, it's normal. There are people who adore it more, but we have to stand at a proper average there. So if you take office, 4.2 years spend at office. So only 2 years you have for your personal time. So if you take all these, you have to do this. But this part of your life, let's plan out really. And if you don't focus on that small area, now what happens is all our habits, and mostly now the phone is here. If I could rename it, not personal, it's phone time, right? Most probably that's what happens. When you go home, what do we call as personal time? Not talking to people now. Not talking to people at home. Not having lunch together or dinner together. But it goes on our phones. So we can rename it in time to come. I think that will come up there, where you can say phone time. So this is how your life is. So when you get caught to that pattern of life, what happens? You get trapped. Why? Because you have no time to sharpen your knife. They say always, when you cut a tree, give some time to sharpen it also. You have to sharpen your axe. If you go on cutting it, you think that you are doing something really useful, you are doing something right. As usually our CEO says, busy fools. We are busy. We are busy. We are running. But what is the output out of it? We have to give some time to sharpen our axes. So where is this time gone? Not with us. Not with us at all now. It's out of our control. Why has that happened? Now you have got content all over. Before, you have to buy content. You have to spend money. Then there is a scarcity. You think about it. Now it's freely offered. And there is billions and billions of contents that comes into the market. When all these contents come, what do? Our instinct tells, okay, just have a look at it. Just 5 minutes video, 1 hour video. It goes on and on and on. But what's really effective out of it? Today, I usually ask my staff this. You have watched, we'll say, movies. Every day, there is more than 2-3 movies released. More than that, you could say 10, in fact. If you go to watch all 10, will you live your life? Will you have time to sharpen your axe? And today, you recall, what do you remember? You would have watched, you say, 20 movies. What do you remember today? Is it 1 movie or 2? What happened in it? In another 10 years or 5 years time, when you look at it, do you remember anything? Did you gain anything out of it? No. Then what's that time called? Rethink. Let's get into our next slide. Okay, now I'm getting into a bigger phase of life. Say a person lives 80 years. Okay, average. Okay, so we'll say 80 years. This mostly hits some people who are old, but just nothing personal about it, but it will give a small, a fear fact. If you take 40 years a person has lived, the first 40, you say 9 hours to 10 hours sleep, so 17 years out of 40 years is spent on sleep. And also this first phase of life, so remaining is only 23. But also this phase, if you take the first 10 years of your life, when you are an infant to a grown up, you spend on sleeping more. So this doesn't work. In fact, it's not 17 years. It's more than that. So after that, you say we'll make it 20. So you have only lived for 20 years. Another 20 remaining. So how that 20 years out of your life, how does it play off? Now, if you take the beginning period, it's very effective. You say the first after 40, it's on a downturn trend, they say. So, but if you take the first 40, it's the most effective period. Out of that, you have got only 20, we can say 20 years remaining. Now, after this 20 years of life, if you drop all those, what do you really remember? I have lived 40 years. What do I really remember about it? I don't, basically, most people don't remember the first 1 to 7 years or 1 to 6 years. Some remember small things, or up to 10 years, you don't remember anything. Then there are small things that catch your interest. Don't need to go into 10 years. Just take your past 5 years. Do you remember the entire 5 years? No. The moments that you remember are the important moments. Or they say, than a person without any problem, a person with problem is better off. Because he remembers how he overcame them. If you take a person who is succeeded, he has some achievements, that is better off. So who is the criminal? The guy who is comfortable with where he is. He remembers nothing. He's very comfortable. There is no hardships. If you even ask a person who has gone through some hardships, they remember, right? They say, I went through this, I came out of it. So even though we see problems as on a negative perspective, the real negative is the comfort zone, not even the problems, because that strengthens you up. So out of this, what I'm trying to say is, so out of that 20 years that you have, the balance 20 years, what is the maximum we have taken? Just think, we say we have 40 years, after 40 I'll do it, but actually it's only 20 years that you have lived. What you can do is within that 20. Out of 20, you take the office time out and everything out. You basically have for yourself around 4 years, 5 years period. So that time, isn't it precious? Isn't it important? Let's think. So where am I going to put that time? So you have decided at this point to put your time to something effective. Problems will come. You will have hardships. You will have difficulties to get over certain subjects, to get them onto your heads. Because there are certain things that people easily absorb, but certain subjects not so. So you ensure that you don't call yourself back. Go on to it. Why? Because even hardships, even success is what you remember. One day you could say that you were qualified, you got qualified because the time you gave. But can you ever say, I gave time to this movie, I gave time to these videos, I gave time to these unwanted other things? Will it come under your qualification? Will it come behind your whatever you have to achieve? No, it doesn't come behind you. But that's what you call it as a waste of time. So today, make yourself firm that this is what I'm going to be. I will put up that extra time. So then you come out with the balance 40. Here what happens? Like I told you, the first 10 years was on sleep. Here the last 10 to 20 years is also the same way. If you ask people, they will tell, here you could get up the way you want. You could stretch your legs and hands the way you want. You can do whatever you want. At this space, even doing those basic things which we don't value now. We could stand, we could do whatever we want, but we don't value them at all. At that point, you will value it. It will hurt to stand up. When they stand up, they hold their knees, they hold their backs. So that is this phase. So, and the latter part is anyway on a difficult, mostly like people go through a lot of difficult. So mostly on sleep. You can't do anything during that period because you are like consolidating your life. At this point, if you have used this properly, you have your self-satisfaction of what you have done. So you have to use this and this, a part of it properly. So at that point, even on your bed, when you recall, you are happy that I have done this. I have made people achieve this. Because a man-to-man health stands for quite a long, and that satisfaction you don't get easily from anything else. So make these moments, the memorable moments, try to increase them. Like be more attached to the human side of us, not running behind like we run behind a particular goal. That's what Dalai Lama has told people when they are young, when they have all their, like when they are fully fit, they spend their time on earning, going behind money, very hard, get stressed, do all those. When they get older, what they do? They spend that money on getting over those sicknesses. So let's plan out our life, and this part of life, the rest of you could take 20 years of this goes on sleep mostly. So if you take a 80-year-old person, so what he can do here is totally different. This is a very active phase. You can do what you want. You have to only have the determination. And this life which I'm talking about, if you go and talk to a cancer patient, if you ask them, what do you want? If you ask them, what do you want? Ask a wish. I'll give it to you. What would he say? Give me more time to live. You have got it today. But do we value it? Do we think about it? If you offer him a BMW, they say, there is no point of it. I want to live first. Give me 6 months. Give me 1 year. I want to live more. But we have got it. But we have taken it for granted. Why? Because everything is easy for us. It has come easy. But it's not the same with everyone. We have to remember. When you go past these hospitals, just call back and ask, how have they put up a massive structure as such? How are they running their expenses? There are people struggling for that time also. They want to just live more. but you have got it. Make use of it. The time that we spend on our mobile devices or whatever you can do when you're on the bed, right? Because anyway, you're going to be not caught up with anything. Use it there, but now put up the time, make use of what you have. Everyone doesn't have it. We have to understand. Not all have it. So this is very precious thing that you have. This is like a project, a person's life. If you think like a project, they have, you say 80 years they live. A success or failure of it. At this phase only we think too much about the society, people around, what will they think, what will these people think. I should, like, during this, when you're studying also you will come across, I have to go to that function, I have to do this, I have to do that. All those will come onto your mind. But you just think about yourself first. When you see a person's life, if they like you take this coronavirus, how many people have passed away, right? Are everyone like mourning about it? How many lives like us? Just call ourselves back, because we take us as a center of point. We see from our sides. Okay, yes. So our life is big, but we are also one of them, right? We are also one of those people. But now they are gone. What society? Who remembers them? With time all forgotten. But if you do something to a person, help them out with something, when he goes along with it, his life becomes better off. Then there is a satisfaction there, because ultimately you could take Bill Gates or whoever who has got enough of money. Ultimately, where do they end up? They have no time to spend that money. They don't have enough time to spend. Where do they end up? On social service, because they know the happiness they get out of it doesn't come through these things. So make yourself, I've told too many things, but the summary of it is, in your life, you have got, you say 80 years, out of 80, if you sum these up, you could say 40 years that you are alive, up, not that you are effective time, you are up. Out of that, 20, at least 20 to 25 goes at work. So what do we really have? It's so limited, it's so scarce. Even if you take a data package, when you activate it, you say 1 GB free. What do our people do? Try to maximum use it. You take 10 GB free, he tries to get maximum out of it. That is for data. What about your life? Right? If we have the same momentum towards life, what will we become? Get the maximum out of it. Why don't we get that thought? We think we have spent money on that, we have to get the maximum. This is more valuable than time. So let's think about it. Next. Yeah. So if you take that, like I told, 17 years is equal to death. You, even though you say you are alive, you are dead, because you don't remember anything, you can't do anything. When you take, but there are people who make use of this also. When they have a burning desire, they say Einstein and all, in their sleep he will wake up. He will write something and sleep, because their inner conscious is running on it. So that's the extreme. We don't need to go there, right? Because anyway we are not using what we have now. If we try to become Einstein, problem. So we'll at least go a little bit lesser. Then if you take the remaining 23 years, do we remember? That's what I told you. Just think how much you remember. This is the years that you have really lived for. So let's get into the next one. Okay, like I told you here, we say my life. Now this is the part we talk about all. My life, my family, my home, my building, my. But what do you have for that mind? You have only 2.1 years, which is around 37% if you keep sleep aside. So if you really look at this, what we call as mind, like they say, Sri Lankans have, mage kanu, mage mind. Man denne na kaatawat, mage taattage idama. Right? There is, right? People are like that. But for all that fight for what? You are living in another person's property here. You are like dead. To sleep, like you can have a small room now with a bed, you can sleep. But this is what we go with our ego. All this is about this. Is it worth it? All our bigness, all our investments, all what we plan for is here. So then we come on to a limit where not only make use of this, even during these hours, try to minimize this. Because if it is equal to death, if you can't do, if nothing is effective here, try to get the max out of it. We see like artists use say 50 cents or whoever it is. What do they do? They have stayed up 2, 3 nights. We don't see it. We don't see it. We only see the success. 2, 3 nights without sleep. So imagine what you have to do. All these big shots that we see today, they have given that time to what is required. So think about it very well and try to get the max out of this for this life as well. If not, this is not enough for what we are putting up. Like it is like you are staying on a rented house mostly and you are calling your own house. This is my house, but you are staying in a rented house. This is another person's property. This is another person's. You are not there. So whatever we call as mine, let's again think about it. Do we really, can we really call it my time, my life, my house, my everything? Because you spend with them only very few. And with these phones coming up, even this my family time has gone down. Let's try to maximize this. For my life, what have I got to do? For my family, what have I got to do? For my home, what have I got to do? And make ourselves, let's change. Next one. Like our beloved prophet has said, he has said, your youth before you are old. Because old age, when it comes, you will understand, why didn't I use my youth? You will repent about it. That's what the prophet said. You will repent about it. The good that you can do, the amal or whatever, your activities you could do when you are young, when old, it's a little bit difficult. Because now if Shaitan is telling you, don't do this, you are very tired or whatever, later on, he is going to influence more because you are weak. So, use your youth before you are old. Your health before you are sick. When you get little sick, you will understand how valuable was when I was healthy. Use your wealth before your poverty. Before you get to your poverty, use it for meaningful things. Your free time before you are preoccupied. We have free time. During COVID, we had time at home. What did we do? Have we added anything onto the good side of what I told you? Time just passed, right? Your life before you're dead. So that's life that I explained you. Use your life before you're dead. After you're dead, no point thinking about it. You have no recall button. And also, while I was explaining this, if you think each of us have objectives, right? Goals to achieve. But let's say I'll talk from a O-level student. What he will say, what's your objective? To get 9 A's. We also would have told, no, not even 9 A's, at least 5 or 2 or 4. But do we really want it? Or how bad do you want it? We say we want it. How bad do you want it? When a person asked from a scholar, I want to be a very successful person. So then this person told him, like, when it comes to your activities, now what you want to achieve is success. Like, do you really badly want it? Then the person said, yes, I really badly want it. I want to achieve it. Then what he asked is, this requirement is not enough. The burning desire you have about your success is not enough. Why? Because we give our importance to a party, to all those, and say we want this. Is it right? What he said was, when a person pushes your head down the water, you can't breathe. He's holding you for too long. That how bad you want to breathe. You try to struggle, even though it is a big giant, you try to hammer him up and you try to come up, right? You try to get that breath. That's what we do, right? We try to do whatever we could. And you have to want success as much as you want to breathe. At that point, if someone offers you whatever you want, do you remember about a party? Do you remember about your affairs, or do you remember about anything? No, you just want to get that breath. Let's come up, get that breath up and go. That's your final. Nothing. He's big, he's small. Do we give reasons at that point? He was a massive fellow who gym No, we don't, right? Because it's so bad you want to do it. But now what we do, we give reasons. Why couldn't we do it? I have got so much of things to do. And what do? We comfort ourselves. We say, come on, man. Not like others, no. I had problems. So I'm okay. No reasons. If you want to achieve it, if you want to go it, you will do it. Abraham Lincoln and all, they are studied under a street light. We complain about comfort. No. If a person really wants it as bad as he wants to breathe, then he achieves it. While we give our importance to other factors. But we say, name said, no, we have an objective. We have it. But having it is no point. We have to work for it as much as we want to breathe. And also another thing that they say is when you talk about difficulty that you have to go through or whatever, they say it is temporary. All the difficulty that you have to go through is temporary. After a point, that will get solved. For example, if someone pinches you, it hurts you. But does it stay forever? It subsides. With time, it goes down. So we'll take the pain. It's temporary. Or else if you lose there, it is permanent. Where you can't correct it. It's not like you going through a hardship and it becoming a very good a goal for you to achieve. So think about it. These are temporary moments. Don't give much, don't give yourself to this is the difficulty I'm going through, therefore I can't. These are temporary things. They say if there's a lock, there's a key. There is a solution. Let's remember that. And focus on our goals as much as possible. So from this, I think everyone would have got an idea about what they have to do. So if I am to ask you, how bad do you want to achieve success? How bad do you need to achieve success? Just turn and ask from each other, how bad, how really bad do you want to achieve success? Is that, are you tricking yourself? Are you making fun of yourself? Or is it the truth? Think about it, work for it. Pain comes down the line, like even this program, you will come through difficulty. Plan about it, think, take a step slow. Don't rush for it, take a step slow, think about it. A person who quits is equal to leaving everything. So that's what people end up their lives. They think that's all. While like what I told, the people who are suffering from cancer and all those, they are trying to live a day. He has the day, he doesn't have the value of it. So we have this time, we have this, like the youth, use that. And what you could use is also limited, like I told you, after sleep, what remains. So be very cautious when even I could say give up, when it comes to your phone time, when it comes to your other, you take it as your hobbies or your other extracurricular things, think about it. Is it useful? What do you remember about it? Take a call because it is meaningful. Like I said, you have to sharpen your axe. Don't go on the trend. Don't go with all are doing this. I'm also doing it. Sharpen your axe, take a moment back, think about your life. Only then, one day, when you recall about yourself, because people might forget you, but when you think about yourself in your deathbed, what you remember is, I have done these things. And now I am reconciling. Everyone knows there is death, but no one wants to die today. Everyone wants to go to heaven, right? After death, everyone wants to go to heaven. But if you tell to die today, they will think. So similarly, what you want to do, have your the time that you have got. People like to live more. You have got that life, make use of it. So I think I've given a rough idea about a small motivation into your future. Make use of it. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. That is so motivating. And then we have, yeah, and And then we have another lecturer who would love to talk to us, our strategic marketing lecturer, Mr. Ilzam Aufar, an MBA specialized in finance, postgraduate in marketing and Islamic finance, SLIM, an associate member of SLIM, associate fellow of IIBI UK. Sir, we would like to take you through.